I wanted to answer some questions that I'm getting about the X-Dome since I posted a kind of unrelated video yesterday, but it does show the X-Dome, so I'm getting questions and I'm gonna answer them. Some of them are, what are my general impressions? Do I think it's a good tent? Is it a winter tent? Are there any kind of problems with the X-Dome so far as I can see? So this is gonna be really quick, completely, off the cuff. To answer that first question, what are my overall impressions of the X-Dome? I think that this is probably Dan's most polished first release. This is, comparing it to any other tent on the market made by MSR, Big Agnes, any of those brands, it's completely comparable. I just don't think that you can put the Durston tents in the cottage company category anymore. They are, like every other manufactured tent, but aimed towards real users. So everything about the tent is commercial grade. There's no kind of corners cut, in my opinion. For example, the door tiebacks on the mesh, they used to be they are on the X-Mids, a little elastic piece of cord that you tie. Well, now they are all with the magnetic toggles, so you've got magnetic on both sides of the door, tie back on the main panel of the mesh door, and even one on the other side to hold back this small component. So that's completely polished. Everything inside of it, when you're inside the tent, there's no, nothing is drooping, there's nothing that's not taut, the pitch is perfect. So that's my overall impression, is that it's a commercial tent that's well thought out. It's using carbon fiber poles that are designed and made for this tent. It's got metal hardware, so instead of having little plastic pieces, it's all metal. Another thing, if you've seen or used the X-Mids, it was using mitten hooks to hold out the floor of the tent, whereas this is using metal hardware again. So in my mind, mitten hooks are kind of, almost a shortcut, because there's nothing great for that purpose on the market, and they're not ideal. I find them pretty frustrating. So you've got sort of another step up in terms of just build quality, design quality. There's not much, from my point of view, that is gonna change in the next iteration. Maybe some minor tweaks. This tent is taking a lot of lessons that Dan learned from all of his other tents and kind of put them in first go. So pretty impressive. Next question, is it a winter tent? Everyone who's getting the tent right now is at the beginning of winter. So we're using it in what I would say not what it's really designed for. I think this is a 3-season tent that is a particularly capable 3-season tent. The overall shape, the fact that it doesn't have a vestibule that comes out that you need to anchor down, just gives it a lot of really great features for the winter. But it's got a lot of mesh, and it's not, it doesn't have all of the guy out points that you would typically see on a true winter tent. And I think that a true winter tent wouldn't typically have just one pole over the top. But again, this is a very capable tent, especially with the fact that you can add on your trekking poles to give it more support for snow load. Now, is snow load the be all and end all of winter? I don't think so, because generally speaking, with a tent like this, with very steep walls, it'll be shedding a lot of snow, and you're not gonna let a foot of snow pile up on this thing. You're gonna bang that off all night. So is it a real winter tent? I would say no. Is it capable of handling, 90%, 95% of winter conditions? I think so. And it's gonna be some of the situations that I use it in quite a lot. If it was, just some minor things that I would do to make it a little bit more winter worthy would be to add that solid nylon panel that goes around the 3 sides across to the door also, just to prevent some, blowing snow from getting in. Mesh lets snow in. And if you've ever been out in the winter, getting snow sort of blow onto you is kind of annoying. That being said, I camp most of the time with a tent in the winter without the inner, so it really doesn't matter to me. I can't remember what the weight is without the inner, but I'm probably gonna try it as the fly only. Really nice feature to be able to pitch it as a complete unit with the inner attached and not have to worry about rain getting into your tent. And the fact that it just uses clips all over also make that a very simple pitch. Is it as strong as a tent that's designed with pole sleeves that you'd maybe slide through? Obviously not as well. If you've got pretty serious wind load on the tent, it's gonna pull hard on these points here. Would I like to see a few more guy out points? Definitely. So it really only has this one main guy out point on this side of the tent. So it has one here, one here. On the other side of the tent, yep, there's also, so you've got 4 guy out points on the tent for the body of the tent. Obviously, you've got more places all around. I'd also like to see one on the back panel somewhere, because this back panel could catch a lot of wind. Is it very storm worthy right now? I'm sure, and those would just add cost. You've got to think about a tie out point in the middle of a panel. You've got to somehow reinforce that. Does that mean adding an other seam to actually have true strength there? Yeah, and that adds cost, it adds weight. So, for most people, this tent is gonna be plenty strong. So for winter, myself, I'd consider using it in subalpine, so anywhere in the tree line. It's not a mountaineering tent. It's not something that you're gonna pitch up on a ridge on some Himalayan peak. That's not what it's for. It's a 3-season backpacking tent that I think can extend well into or through the winter for most people. Every design has some compromises. This tent is designed to be able to be pitched with the pole structure on the outside, or also pole structure on the outside of the inner. So to be able to do that, they've had to do some kind of, I would say, compromises or build redundancy in the tent. One of those is that the connectors at the 4 corners have the metal brackets for both the fly and the inner connecting to the same point in the same way. And it means that the angle is a little bit tricky to deal with. You got to be patient. You've got to, pull those connectors to be at nice right angles. If they're at a little bit of an angle, they don't come off. So it's just a question of knowing what the tent is like, being patient, not fighting with it, getting those connectors lined up and sliding them off. I've got it set up right here. I've got a long, wide pad in there. So it's the Thermarest X-Lite, big rectangular pad. It fits perfectly. You get a little bit of extra space because I'm on the diagonal with it at your head and feet. When I slept with it the other night, I put my head at this end. I don't know what I was thinking exactly. That's just how I set myself up. Next time I camp in this, I'll set myself up this way with my head at the other end. You get definitely quite a bit more of extra space near your head at that end, just because of the angles. You have a lot of nice space on the corner to put gear. And that's a great feature for a lot of people. That when you're getting used to backpacking and camping, the notion of spreading out all of your gear just on the ground can get a little bit out of control. So this keeps everything tidy. You can get in there, just spread out your gear. You have a lot of space. You've got a great little vestibule that's protected. And I think it's gonna end up being one of the most popular tents on the market. If I was building a fleet of tents for some kind of school or instructional organization, this is the design that I would use. It has so many things going for it. It makes your life easy. The only problem with it in that sort of use case is the carbon fiber poles, which I think, if you're dealing with people who are new to camping and backpacking, they're gonna be fragile in their own way. They're gonna add cost. I think it would be a great option to have aluminum poles available. I just don't know if aluminum poles can be this thin. These are quite small diameter poles, so I'm curious about that. I just don't know. Would you have to have a version of the tent that can handle aluminum poles and have different sizes of clips? I'm not 100% sure, but I think that would be a great option to have a slightly lower price version, or the option to buy the tent without poles and buy either the carbon fiber or aluminum. The other thing is that it is very light and it's very thin materials. So I think the tent is a great design. The fact that it's just a rectangle, that you've got your vestibule built in by cutting out the floor, it really works. So, you know, having potentially another version with heavier fabrics that's more for schools or guiding, etc., could be, you know, a great kind of offering, and also a more solid version of inner. That's a no-brainer to me, is to have a version that's much more like the solid inner of the X-Mid Solid. Question is going to be durability of the carbon fiber poles. Do people have issues with those lower connectors, the metal connectors or brackets? Those are the two big issues. But apart from that, if you fit in this, and I'm 6'3", I fit in this, so 6'3" would be the maximum. Honestly, this is going to take over the backpacking and camping world. It just has too many things going for it. The price is pretty reasonable. So in my opinion, this is a success. The bottom of each pole has two metal connecting brackets. So one is for the actual body of the tent, the inner. So this is the corner that's got the cutaway, so you just see two ropes that come onto it. But those go onto the connector at the bottom of the pole. So when these are on, they kind of cam on and they can be a little bit tricky, but you've just got to get them nice and perpendicular and they come off. Then here you have the fly of the tent connected to this exact same kind of connector. And what happens here is, because it's cammed sideways, you know, it holds on really nicely. So to get these off, I find the easiest way is to actually grab the pole, bend it a little bit, and then it just comes off pretty well. Really no problem there. So it's just a question of being patient and getting used to it. Same thing when you want to put them on. I just grab it by the pole and bend the pole. If you hold it all by the bottom, it doesn't give you enough leverage. So I just hold it by the pole, turn it a bit, comes right off. So, you know, I think there's going to be some kind of complaints about this system, but getting used to it, you know, on, same thing, second one, on, no problem, off. Just have to make sure that you loosen it by bending the whole pole a little bit, loosen it by bending the whole pole a bit, and you're good to go.